Hey guys, welcome back to Dating Dynamics. Matt and Nick here to fulfill the promise that we made in our previous video, and that is to talk about frame. It's a really important topic. We're really excited to get into it. However, before we do, if you didn't see our last video, it was all about flirting, and we give a good example of just the power that has in an interaction with a girl. So if you didn't see it, click the link above, check it out. Otherwise, we're going to get right into it.
Absolutely. So when we say frame, what does that mean? What we're talking about is the context of a conversation, establishing who I am, who I'm talking to, and why we're having a conversation. So a couple examples, if I were talking to my niece about a funny book that she read, that's going to be a very different conversation than, say, if I'm at work talking to my boss about something that's work related. So if you tried to flip the scenario and say I have the conversation that I would have with my niece, but have that with my boss at work, it just doesn't work, okay? And that seems crazy, but that's actually exactly the problem that a lot of guys have when they approach a girl they're interested in. They start out with the wrong frame in that conversation.
Yep, we see it all the time, guys. There'll be a guy who sees a girl that he finds really attractive, and he'll be brave enough to go talk to her, which is, of course, commendable. However, he will take the safest route, the route that he feels like gives him the least chance of rejection, not the highest chance for success. So that route is often riddled with conversation that doesn't have anything that could possibly be abrasive or edgy in it. And what it looks like is usually just a friendly meet and greet session. Now, the problem with that is that for him, the frame is, I'm talking to a really pretty girl that I want to get her number and go on dates and things. And for her, she's talking to a potential friend, because that's exactly the way he has presented himself. And we probably all know how that turns out.
Not well. So the question there is, well, what do you do about it? How do you fix that? Well, first of all, we're going to talk about body language. So you want to approach in a way that shows, hey, I'm a man, and not just that, but I'm a confident man. So you want to have your head up. You want to be making good eye contact. You're standing tall with your shoulders back. Not anything crazy, but you know what I mean. Looking like a man. So doing that shows, hey, I'm confident and I'm a man. That's a good thing. That's what you want. So the next thing would be your tone and your pacing when you start to talk. So people associate a higher pitch with women and a lower pitch with men. That being the case, you're going to want to talk in a lower pitch that's normal to your voice range. So you're not way down here, that's obviously you trying, but just in a normal, lower, natural tone. When it comes to pacing, you want to have a more calm pace, because if you're talking really fast, what does that show? Well, it shows that you're nervous. So if we combine this body language and the tone and the pacing in all the wrong ways, it's going to look something like, hey, how are you doing? Not good, versus, hey, how are you doing? You can see which is better, and it's like, I'm the same person either way, but it's all about how I am showing myself.
So a really good example of this that Matt and I like is one time we saw a guy approach a girl. So he comes up to her and he says, hey, so I saw you from across the room and I just had to come over here and talk to you to see if you're as cool as I hope you are. Now, that was like perfect. It really was. And she responded very, very positively. The reason is he was being very direct that, hey, I'm a guy that saw you from across the room and thought you were so pretty that I had to come over here and talk to you. So that's pretty direct, right? But also he didn't give everything away. He wasn't sold on her because he's saying, I hope you're as cool as I think you might be, right? And that's very different than just, hey, can I have your phone number and let's go out? And she responded. It gave her the opportunity to respond as a woman and try to prove herself to him. And so it was just a great way to get things started. So think along those lines. But an important thing to remember with all of this is that even though establishing a man-to-woman frame takes a lot more bravery initially, like going up and doing that, that's going to be a little scary, right? But once you have done it, the conversation is actually going to be easier than what you're used to if you're used to going in as just sort of the friendly vibe. Because now that big secret that, oh, I think you're really pretty, which she already knows probably, it's out. And you're not having to think, oh man, how am I going to say this? What's going to be the right time? What's she going to think? It's done, and you can just see what she thinks. And she's probably not going to react horribly to it. There's going to be varying levels of good and bad, but it's going to be out of the bag, and you're going to actually feel much better once that's done, and you're going to be more capable of engaging in a good conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So for this week, guys, we want to give you a challenge. We want you to go out there and apply what you've learned today. And in doing that, the next time that you approach an attractive young woman, we want you to remember that confident body language, the pacing, the tone, and starting the conversation on the right foot, being able to establish that man to woman frame. So our next video, we're going to be talking about how to maintain that man to woman frame throughout the conversation. If you're interested in that and you haven't already subscribed or hit the notification bell, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.